y'all. It's time for rolling dice and taking names. In this episode, the guys talk about the golden age of gaming. Plus, they'll do reviews for AI Space Puzzle, Yokohama, and Nekojima. And in Taste Buds, they will try out some odd flavored soft drinks.
Hello and welcome to episode number 326, Turning Japanese. I'm Tony.
I'm Marty. I think so. I'm turning Japanese. I think I'm turning Japanese. Do you know what that song's about?
I was sitting here the song meaning, and I didn't get to it. I just wanted to make sure that I had the right title, because I screwed up the Queen one from episode number 325, but got it straight this time. No, what's it about?
You never heard the rumor about this song?
No, I just remember hitting move on.
Oh, you wasn't a big fan of the song.
No.
So the rumor forever when this song came out that the song was about, how can I put this? Self-love.
Mm.
And so that rumor went on for quite a while. And finally, one of the members of the Vapors, the songwriter, came out and said, I don't know how that got started. It is not true. It's a love song about a guy who broke up with his girlfriend. All he had left with was his picture. So he put the kibosh on that rumor that had been going around for many, many, many years.
But that's what I don't understand is, what was he, just the whole phrase, turning Japanese. I don't understand anyway.
I don't want to get into it. Oh, never mind. It was just a facial expression. No, I'm not getting into it. Nope. If you want to learn more about it, you can go hear why people thought the song Turning Japanese was about what I said earlier.
Okay. It was just, I guess maybe it was a catchy phrase or something.
I'm not,
80s.
no, we're not going in. No.
I can't drag it out of you is what I'm hearing.
No, if you go read the lyrics, just go read the lyrics and it'll make more sense.
I have. That's the problem. It doesn't make sense to me. But that's okay. I'll leave it at that.
He's over there reading the lyrics.
No, he's not. He's watching my daughter's dog who just finished his dinner, went outside, had a great BM, and now he wants to play. And I'm like, I don't have time for this. I have to record again. Freaking again. I did not sign up for this. This was not in the initial contract. This was every other week. And now I'm doing this every weekly? What kind of crap is this?
Okay, here's the thing is we got all these really great games that's going to be coming out at Gen Con, and we wanted to talk about them before Gen Con came around, which means we kind of need to accelerate some of the episodes here to get through some of this stuff. But look, every game that we're going to talk about today is coming out at or right around Gen Con.
Okay.
People get to hear previews of stuff they might be interested in that's coming out in August, whether they're going to Gen Con or might want to pre-order at where?
Miniaturemarket.com. That's right, for all your gaming needs.
Make sure to use the affiliate link on our website.
Please.
So we're just trying to knock out some of these games, and I thought, man, there's no way every other week we're going to get through this. So I'm not saying it'll stay every week.
Thank goodness.
I mean, it may change, but yes. So this is coming in on our regular schedule week. The 325 was in the off week. Now, speaking of something that's coming out, my sons and I are really into Warhammer Age of Sigmar, into that fantasy universe. We've been in it ever since it came out. A 4th edition of this game is coming out, and the starter set is coming out called Skaventide.
Go Skavens! Go Skavens!
Yep. I thought you'd like that part. So yeah, it's all about the Skaven. And of course the Stormcast is always in it. And so it's always with me when something comes out like this. All right, well, what's different? Well, number one, any existing model that you have that you can use, but they're supposedly, they're streamlining the gameplay a little bit. They used to have these war scrolls where they had all the data on these cards. They're trying to get all the data onto one cards. The phases are streamlined a little bit more. There's a chance where now an opponent can react. There was an idea in Age of Sigmar that you could get a double turn, which felt really OP. But what happens now, there's a penalty when you take a double turn. The full game is getting an overhaul, but I think what excites me the most about this new rule set that's coming out is a version of the game called Spearheads. Mm-hmm. Now, this is a skirmish style game with a lot fewer models on the table that can be played in about an hour. So that's always going to be in my wheelhouse. Probably not the 3-hour, 2,000 point game, but the 1 hour, 14 to 15 model game that I could play on a smaller playing surface in about an hour. And they're actually going to be releasing these Spearhead sets. So you can get everything in one box. And the rules for this and the original 4th edition are going to be free online when they come out. And all the factions are going to get free rule updates for any existing models. So everything that you need to play 4th edition is going to be free as they come out with new models. They'll come out with new rule books that you can buy that has the rules for the new models, but you're not going to be left out in the cold if you've been playing this and have existing models. But for me, the thing is going to be Spearheads. And that's the thing I'd want to get to the table and see how that works and play. So I always have liked that universe more so than 40K, because 40K is sci-fi, even though it's the bigger one. I'm just more of a fantasy guy.
Okay. And I also read here on the webpage, the core rules have been updated for the first time since 2015.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's where they're doing a lot of changes. So we'll see how the community will react to it. There is one thing that I like. It's called a gambit mechanic. It's an underdog mechanic, which is kind of like gambits in 40K. If you're really far down in victory points, this game's about getting victory points. Amazing. And what you can do is you can try to complete one really hard to do mission during a game to score a bunch of points. So these gambits let you add a huge chunk of points completing tasks like getting units to objectives, etc. So it's kind of like a quick, boy, I'm way behind. I'm going to risk this and take a chance on this big play over here to see if I could possibly catch up. So they're adding little things like that to hopefully keep you more engaged in the game. Again, I mentioned the double turn and all that sort of thing. So again, it's a very phase-based game like it always has been. It's just some of the phases are tweaked, etc. So we'll see how it goes. The game's been around for quite a while, so it was kind of due for an update, and we'll see how the community responds to it when it comes out later this month.
So all those models down in your basement for this, I mean, do you still do you skirmish still, or is it just the boys?
So I do some. I mainly play Warcry. So that was the game that I heavily got into because I love the dice mechanic of that. That was a totally separate system, came out a few years ago, had its own rule set, but used the same Age of Sigmar models. There hasn't been a lot in the Warcry universe that's kind of been going on. So I'm wondering if they're going to kind of sunset Warcry and instead use the Spearhead mechanic instead. But I really did love the dice play of Warcry, of rolling dice and assigning dice to be able to do abilities. That was really cool to me. So again, my interest is kind of in the Spearhead part. So we'll see how it goes.
Okay. Well, and you get some more painting. You get to do all that fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you painted a model?
I guess earlier this year.
Really?
Well, I mean, I've always just got little things I just kind of pull out and work on and stuff just for fun. Painting's therapeutic.
Well, it was until I was painting, what was it? Privateer Press game we played, War Machine.
Mm-hmm.
And I set up this model, had its arms the way I wanted, had it, the epoxy set, everything was good. Had the wires pulling it all together. It looked really good. Mm-hmm. Started to paint it, and then something broke. I was like, son of a gun. Then it didn't become therapeutic anymore at that point.
Speaking of, did you read where the whole Iron Kingdoms universe, including the RPG, War Machine, etc., was sold to Steamforged?
No, I did not read that.
That happened earlier this June. Privateer Press sold off basically Iron Kingdoms, which includes all the War Machine models, that universe, P3 paints, the RPG, all went to Steamforged. I'm very curious about this because I love War Machine. I love the mechanics of War Machine. When MK3 came out, which was like their 3rd edition, it kind of fell off and it never did really gain ground since then. They keep trying to come out with these different styles of gameplay for War Machine, but I just like the classic War Machine. So I'm curious as to what Steamforged is going to do with it. I'm wondering, like, in the latest War Machine, there were no hordes. Hordes were removed. There were factions that were totally removed. So I'd love it just went back to the classic War Machine. So this was kind of coming out of nowhere. So we'll just see what Steamforged will end up doing with it over time. But even taking over the paint line and everything.
Yeah, I always enjoyed the P3 paints. Mm-hmm. Those are top-notch paints. And I mean, I know there are the Reaper and all that, but for me, it was always, because that's what I got used to. And there's always textures with paints. And I'm maybe speaking out my hind end here about painting things. It was just you got used to certain textures and certain consistencies.
100%.
Well, dang, I did not know. Look at you being all informative and in the know.
It's my job? No, it's not.
It's
really
not your job.
Don't rely on me for accurate information, but I'm pretty sure I feel pretty good about all that.
Okay. Well, I mean, and I know they were coming out with the ones that had the magnets and things like that. We looked at it and I was just like, I don't have where we are now in gaming. I'm not going to spend a Saturday afternoon doing a bunch of these tournaments, which was fun. I enjoyed it when we did it, I always loved rolling sixes and be basically rezzing something you survived or something. I don't remember. It was one of those fun things.
Yeah, I just remember I loved the whole Warcaster idea, the thing where you could take focus points. You could assign focus to your war jacks, which gave them special abilities during the turn and all that stuff. And I enjoyed it. And I enjoyed the times that we played. And, if it's one of those things that if we were retired in the same retirement home, we'd probably pull that out on the table or something. We could get back into miniatures again easily if we had the bandwidth to do so.
I was going to say, definitely not painting. I mean, my eyes are already going to crap. I can just see me now I was wearing big magnifiers then. And I could only see it now. It'd be like 3 magnification glasses stacked up on one another as I try to get to the details that I wanted to achieve. So I'm still one of my proudest was in a small tournament when I won an award for a painted miniature. I was kind of fun.
Yes, you did.
Yeah,
yes, you did.
I got a paintbrush. Oh goodness! All right, so we've been talking about card games a lot, and there's one that from 25th Century Games. Called Mojo. You turned it over to me and said, I hear this is good with a lot of players, and Mojo can play 3 to 8 players. And recently I've had a lot of people at the house visiting and just eating my food, things like that. And I said, well, listen, if you're going to eat my food, you're going to have to pay it forward by playing games.
Fair.
And Mojo is, it was under a different name. I don't know what it is, but this is designed by Anthony Gillian. And it is a game where you are trying to shed your cards, card shedding game. You're dealt 8 cards, and on your turn, you will play a card to the discard pile. If your card is higher than the discarded card that you're covering, you draw a card.
Okay, I follow so far.
All right,
okay.
So you add a card. If your card is equal to the card on the discard pile, you get to go again.
That's good, because it's a card shedding game.
Card shedding game. But if you were to play a card that was above the one you just played, you get to draw a card, turn ends.
Okay.
If you play a card below the number on the discard pile, your turn ends.
Okay.
Straightforward, simple rules, right?
That's it?
That's it.
There's got to be something else in there, a twist or something?
So when you get down to 3 or less cards as you're shedding, when you're the first person to get to 3 or less cards, then you put your cards face down in front of you, and you take the Mojo card. And so that's telling people that they have 3 or less turns, because like one time I was able to discard a whole bunch of cards at one time because I had a fit full of 12s. Like I had 4 of them and Donna played a 12. So I basically go 12, 12, 12, 12, 12. And suddenly I played one more card that was less than that and I had to put my cards down. That tells everybody, okay, that person, we've got 3 more rounds or 2 rounds, depends on how many cards are left in their hand when they play, to get rid of our cards. As soon as that person, when it comes back to them, they flip over a card. Doesn't matter what it is, they just flip it over. It's a timing mechanism. So at the end, after that 3rd card is flipped by that person, then the game immediately stops. You total up the points the people have, and that is based on the highest card you have in each color suit. There's pink, orange, yellow, green, and blue.
Okay.
Pink has a 12 and 11, and then orange has 10, 9, 8. So forth and so on. So if let's say I had 3 yellows and it was a 6 and 2 5s, my points are 6.
Got it.
Understand. So that's the scoring. So if you are the person that took the Mojo card and you do not have less than everybody around the table, you get plus 10 to your score.
Oh.
The object of the game is to have the least amount of points. So you don't necessarily need to always want to put down 3 cards to begin the end of the round, because there's no way to shed them. And the strategy is not about so much of having, getting to that cards, getting to those last 3. It's about getting a set of a set of colors, one set of colors, knowing that the total points is going to be the highest in that.
Oh, so I just want to follow back on something. If you're the one that calls Mojo, the 3 cards that you have will never get played. That's just your turn is just skipped when it comes around. It just indicates, okay, this is the number. Okay, so what you have left, you know that you're going to score this on these 3 cards. Okay, are those cards face up?
No, they are not until you turn them over when it comes your turn. So people will see them. Oh, okay. So people may be saying, "Oh, he's got a green too. Well, what else do you have?" Or they may be saying, okay, because they're not evenly distributed. The numbers and the colors are not evenly distributed. The lower numbers there's fewer of them. Okay. It's one of those things where, when I was first reading the rules, I'm like, okay, this is weighted a 1 at BGG. Doesn't mean a whole lot of anything. But I was like, when we've played it with 7 multiple times, people were loving it. Light gamers were loving it because they began to understand the strategy of how to, I need to manipulate these colors and try to stick it to the person with Mojo. Because if you suddenly find yourself with 3 cards of all different colors, you're going to have some high points.
Sure.
And we played one that lasted 4 rounds, but most of them usually, because you only play to 50 points. First person to 50 points, game over. Person with the lowest points is the winner. We've played 3 rounds, mostly with 7 people. It was a pleasant surprise on the gaming table. Everybody's like, oh, another new card game. I'm like, yes, let's just give this a try and see how it is. Here are the 3 basic rules. Oh, I can follow that. I'm like, yeah, you can. And they begin to understand the strategy the more and more we played it. So we'd usually sit down, play it like three times at a setting. So that is Mojo by 25th Century Games. And it's 8 and up. If you looking for a type of card shedding game where the strategy is collecting a set of suits, you may want to give this one some consideration. I'd like to try it with less players. So maybe I'll bring it to game night and the 3 of us can try it or the 4 of us can try it and see how it plays. But right now, 7, it played pretty solid. On BGG, they're saying 2. I'm like, 2? What kind of game is that? You don't play a game with 2 when you can go up to 8. That makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Especially when it says it plays 3 to 8 players. Who's voting for this crap?
I don't even want to go into BGG and how they do numbers. I have no clue.
Yeah.
It's all black magic to me.
All right. So, Marty, we were at game night, and I brought you something my daughter gave us to try. Taste buds. 2 incredible stuff. Taste buds. 2 incredible stuff. Taste buds. They're just a bunch of.
Your daughter bought us stuff to try. We're sitting in Qdoba. And you said, here are a couple beverages. I said, all right. And so it's another one of our on location taste buds.
It is game night and we are at Qdoba's. But before we get our normal Coke Zero, we've got a couple taste tests to do here. And the first, we're not going to tell Marty what it is, but the name of the soda is Grandpa Joe's. Now, did we ever do a Grandpa Joe's?
I don't think I've done that. We've done some stuff from, what's the Rocket? The shop that sells drinks is called Rocket something. Rocket Fizz.
Oh, yeah, something like that. Yeah. I remember that. All right, so here we go. This is number 1, and then we'll come back.
Is this supposed to be disgusting?
No.
Okay.
All right, so here we go. No flavor, no smell.
Well.
Okay, it is disgusting. Oh, my gosh.
It's like a cream soda, but not good.
It's not good.
What is it?
What is it? No, one more sip. Oh my heavens.
Is it cigarette tobacco?
No.
Okay, what is it? I don't want more of this.
Okay.
Oh.
This is Grandpa Joe's baking soda.
Oh, that's the burnt.
That's the burnt
taste. I'm like, well, yeah. Okay, well, I got the burnt taste, obviously.
All right. Well, that is the first one.
Oh, there's another? Oh,
we got a new one out.
Even smelling it. No, this makes it smell like feet.
It's not durian.
I don't. This is not durian.
Stinks. Another Grandpa Joe.
This stinks.
It smells interesting.
I swear.
Hey, blame my daughter and and son-in-law.
My stomach's already messed up from that bacon cigarette ash I had.
All right. This might be good.
Oh gosh, no! What are you doing?
I about spit that all over the game board.
This?
Oh god!
I ain't tasting that again. What is this? This is
that's bad.
disgusting.
Do you really feel that way?
Gross. Gross.
Oh, it's like I just had throw up in my mouth.
What is it?
Ketchup.
No, it's not.
It's horrible.
I love ketchup. That's nothing like ketchup.
This is Grandpa Joe's old-fashioned soda pop ketchup, made in Pittsburgh.
I'll take one small more sip.
No, I'm not. I did. It tasted like throw up in my mouth. Oh.
Oh, gross.
Okay.
No. Tell your daughter she just wasted a ton of money. Do not get this.
This is bad. This was bad. Oh.
All right, I gotta give you something to wash this taste in my mouth.
All right, well, that's it for this episode of Taste. Oh,
I'm barking it up.
oh yeah, you're going to be bad. Oh. All right. Whew. Okay, that's it for Taste Buds. Maybe we'll have something good in the future.
All right. We stopped recording, and then I could not get that sickening ketchup taste out of my mouth. That was one of the most vile things I've ever tasted. So I take my drink cup, and I go out there and I wash it out and fill it up, and there's an aftertaste. It's somehow stuck to the inside of the cup or the straw or something. And I was sitting there drinking. I said, I can't take this anymore. So you went and got us 2 new cups. Mm-hmm. And the workers probably thought, why do you need 2 new cups? It was the stank got somehow infused in the paper cup, and I couldn't take it. That stayed with me forever. Just a horrible aftertaste. Ketchup. Ugh.
Oh, ketchup was so bad. And this comes from Grandpa Joe's Candy Shop. They've got some of the old-fashioned stuff. Like, let's take a look at these. Some cigarettes gum. That was always classic.
Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah. Zagnuts, knee-high peach. I mean, of course, all the Pez and everything, but man, let's see. I was just wondering if they had any other types of really good. They got some types of root beer. Oh, they got candles for you. The Naughty. So we may have to get another order and get some more sodas. What do you think?
It sounds like decent tasting sodas, sure. But bacon and ketchup, no.
Okay.
Who would buy this? Who puts this in their fridge to enjoy on a hot summer day?
Well, you can always pick up Avery's Alien Snot, Avery's Bug Barf, Avery's Dog Drool, Avery's Kitty Piddle, Monster Mucus, Zombie Brain, Unicorn Yak. Come on, live a little. Okay, yeah, we'll never try this again. For all of those that were at Origins, you may have got to experience a Game Topper solution. That's right, Berkey was over there. I hope you visited him at the booth to see his quality products. I mean, we're talking about products that can turn your ordinary dining table into a gaming table. And if you get the dining table covers, it becomes a dining table again. I mean, think about this. You got a dining table, a game table, and another dining table. So why do you need a dining room table? You don't. Just simply go to Gametoppers LLC.com and order the Game Topper, the leg kits, and the dining table cover. Also, their premium mats. And Marty, I'm happy to report that mine went through the washer without any issues. Things tough as nails.
Look at there. So it worked.
It worked. That was in our last episode where Marty told us all about that. And we're not kidding you when we talk about the stable, non-slip performance on these things. They will protect. If you still want to put it on your dining room table, go right ahead. It will protect those. One of my other favorite things is Berkey has what they call the Young Sherlock leg kit. Now, this is a smaller table for kids and all, but you know what? They've got casters on these things. You can roll them across the room. You can slide them out of the way. So let's say, like, for instance, I've got a coffee table. Why not this become my coffee table and I can put a puzzle on it and I can slide it out of the way? Or better yet, it just becomes the coffee table for the family. So head over to GameToppersLLC.com if you're sitting there thinking, I need a new table, be sure to check it out. He's got the solution for you.
Back in 2016, Tasty Minstrel Games released a game called Yokohama, which was an extremely popular Euro for the time. Everybody was going gaga over this game, Tony. Do you remember it when it first released?
I vaguely remember it, but I never got a chance to play it.
I didn't either. I saw it talked about a lot. I always thought it looked cool, but we never played. So Tasty Minstrel Games went out of business. Mm-hmm. And you thought, well, that's the end of all their games. Well, that is not correct, because Synapsis Games went out and picked up the rights to this game, has redone the box art, redone the player boards, changed out the pieces, and re-released this game. It's going to be coming out, I believe, at Gen Con or in August.
Okay.
So you and I got a chance finally to play this game. It's a game that plays 2 to 4 players, 90 minutes. 4 players might be tough at 90 minutes, but that's kind of what you're going for. And I will just say right out of the box, this is a stereotypical Euro style game. There's a lot of different things going on, such as there's resource management. There's a kind of a worker placement thing going on where you get to place one of your meeples and get to do something. It's just how you get there. It's what's unique about it. Mm-hmm. There's some set collection. There's resource modification or trading in. Mm-hmm. There's an area majority on a couple boards that come into in-game scoring. It's kind of a lot of different things poured into one within this game. So I guess the thing is, the crux of it is, what exactly is a player doing in this game?
Oh, I mean, I think you pretty well summed it up for me. I'm moving my little guy around. I'm getting these resources. I'm converting them to this resource. I'm trying to be able to score points over it, turn contracts in. And in the meantime, I'm battling with every other player out there on the board, trying to score some big victory points by increasing my power I have in these various locations, either on the harbor or, in the mines. And basically, I am moving my little president around this board and saying, okay, I am here. How much power do I hear? I collect that amount of resources or do an action based on the power that's there. That to me was the game. Now I know there's more details to it, but that's really what it boiled down for me.
Yeah, the board is not like a typical fold out board. Right. Instead, what you have these area cards that you're going to assemble, and depending on the number of players, it's going to be kind of like a pyramid that you're going to lay these cards out. So every time you play the game, they're going to be laid out differently around the table. And each of these cards, as you said, do different things. But on your turn, what you're going to do is you have these assistants that you unlock that you can place on the board. You can place 3 assistants in 3 different areas, or place 2 assistants in a single area. And then you can move your president. Now, the movement of the president is very straightforward. As you move your president from one adjacent area card to another, it must go through a place where you have an assistant placed. So if you want to get all the way on the other side of the board, you can, as long as each card you move through has one of your assistants there. And once you get to the end, you take the action of where you place that president. The only stipulation is somebody else's president can't be there. Mm-hmm. Somebody could go somewhere you want to go. It's like, crap, I can't do this turn. I need to save it next turn. But those little assistants that you're dropping off will add to your power whenever you take an action on that card. So if I land on a card that's going to give me resources, and there's 4 different resources in the game, there's an area card for each of those resources. I'm going to go to that location. My president counts as 1 power. Every other assistant there counts as a power. I can build buildings on there which add to the power. The higher the power, the more of that particular resource I'm going to be able to collect. Once I take the action of that area, I remove all the assistants from that board, leave the president there, and I can use those assistants in future turns, and then my turn is over. Mm-hmm. The whole gameplay is placing assistants, moving to certain locations to collect resources that you need, going to another area, possibly turning in those things to collect a contract, and then on your turn, your contract say, hey, if you got 2 of this and 3 of this, turn it in for some victory points. Great, I will do that, sort of a deal. So that's where the standard Euro thing is going on. What makes it unique is this whole movement of your president around this modular board.
Right. And some of the things I've run into, and I don't know if it's one of maybe the way the board was laid out for us, but sometimes when you have that randomness in these types of games, that sometimes this travel path that you need to efficiently do things is hampered. I always go back to the original Catan when it would say, okay, you need to set up the board like this. You can do it randomly, but we've done a lot of research and we know what works best. So, I kind of am cautious about games like this because when we were playing, I was like, okay, I understand what I need to do. There is, other than you blocking me from taking an action by having your president there, there's not a lot of player interaction, but I'm having to figure out, okay, do I have enough coins to be able to move through your president, or am I going to have to take a route around you?
We didn't mention that if you go through a place where somebody else present is, you got to give that president a coin.
Or if you go through the canal, you have to pay the ferryman.
Coin to the bank, yeah.
So, I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, the interaction, I can always plan out my move until you move there. It was one of those things where I felt like I was never hamstrung about what I needed to do. I could always do something else as long as I had my apprentices unlocked. But then the real challenge for me was...
Assistants, you mean?
Assistants, thank you.
Yeah.
I like apprentice.
No, that is pretty cool, but just so we can stay consistent to what the rules are.
Who cares?
The people listening.
Oh, okay, fine. The shops and the trading houses. That's where I kept getting in. By unlocking those, there's a tile that allows you to, based on your power there, it'll allow you to unlock various houses that you can then, like Marty recently just said, you can build, which will get you more either victory points or resources when you build those, which add to your power. That was a challenge for me in this game, was trying to manipulate around that, where you and I think Bert were just flying all over the board making this happen.
Well, there's a specific tile called the employment agency. Now, every person has a player board where you have a lot of your assistants and buildings locked into place. You start out with some that are unlocked, that are called in your hand. But if you ever start running out of assistants or start placing a lot of buildings on the board, you need to unlock more. So the employment agency is where you can go to unlock that stuff. Now, assistants are free to unlock. Let's say I go to the employment agency and I have a power of 3. That allows me to unlock 2 things from my board. Coming out of my warehouse. Your board's called a warehouse. Assistants are free to take. Buildings have a little bit of a coin cost to them to get them. So you just need to go there more often to unlock those. But the thing is, though, and this is interesting too, there are some boards like the church where you're going to go and whatever your power is will determine your faith strength. You can add your faith strength by giving up some additional resources, but you're going to take one of your assistants and actually put it on the board, and you lose that the rest of the game. When you put your assistant there, you get a little something, but that assistant is no longer available to you during the game. That's also one of those boards at the end of the game. If you have more assistants there on that board than anybody else, then you're going to get some additional victory points. And that same thing also happens in the customs warehouse, where you can turn in imported goods. And by doing that, you take one of your assistants and put it on the customs board, which gives you some stuff. There's another area majority there. So you'll unlock assistants, put them on that board, which will require you to unlock more assistants. If you need to generate a lot of power, then throw a lot of assistants on one particular board and eventually get your president over there. And once you have a power of 4 or 5 on a board, that's when it allows you to place one of your buildings on that board. You can't do it any time. No. You must have a power of 4 or 5 in order to be able to do it. So you have to plan in advance.
Right. And I think that's one part of the tricks to the game, is making sure the assistants, you have at least another path to get to them, because you had to pull your president off one time because there was nowhere for you to go. You didn't have any assistants, correct. So you had to pull them all off. So you have to plan accordingly for that. As we were playing this, it was kind of a puzzle. And to be honest with you, I just didn't feel like I was getting in the flow of the game very well. Mm-hmm. So once again, it's one of those games, as you continue to play it, you'll understand the mechanics of the game and understand what you need to do to achieve those points. Now, is it going to be the same, solving that you need to do, the same repeated process? Probably not, because the players you are interacting with will change that. They will manipulate, well, I needed to go here, and, well, oh crap, he did that. So I just lost track of points. You were there racking them up, and I was like, okay, why is he doing that? And I'm not, how did he get all those resources? This sucks.
Talking about other things that are kind of typical of Euros that this one has. There's also a laboratory which you can go to, which you can get a card, which is like a permanent ability. Like, for example, early on in the game, I took a card that says, instead of placing 3 assistants, I could place 4, which kind of gave me a heads up early on. So you can collect technology cards, which can give you special abilities that on go during the game. And there's also in-game achievements. Random achievement tiles are placed out at the beginning of the game. Like, hey, the first person to get 7 silk. Put your assistant here and you'll get some victory points. Again, you're getting rid of assistant. Do that. So you're going to have to go lock another one to have it available to you. But that's some in-game scoring too. And I talked about the set collecting. The technology cards and the order cards have nation flags in the upper right-hand corner. If you ever match a set of 2, that gives you a token that lets you lets you take an extra turn during your turn once per game. But at the end of the game, if you have a complete set of all the nation cards, you generate victory points. So there's your set collecting. So it has all these Euro elements kind of built into this one game.
I'm going to get off the gameplay for a second. I will just say that the production is amazing.
Yeah. Compared to TMG. Yeah. So instead of, we went and watched an old video of like what this game was about. And I think the assistants were cubes. Here they're tiny little meeples.
Yes, they are.
They look really nice. And the warehouse boards have all indentions on them for holding your buildings, holding your assistants. The same on the achievement tiles and the actual area cards themselves all have that. So the production is top notch. And I love the art. I love the cover art of this game compared to the first one too.
It was just very well done. So I enjoyed that.
Also, it includes 2 mini expansions in this thing too. So you get the base game plus 2 mini expansions all included in one. What are your final thoughts on it?
So a lot have come out since then, right? A lot of games similar to this. I mean, I go and I look at, well, BGAG says also recommended for you if you like this game. Lorenzo was there. I think it's one of those games that I'm glad I got to play it, but does it replace something on my shelf? And had it been on my shelf first, would something coming around and kick it out? I don't know, but I also know that for me, this is becoming not my style of game. Nothing against the game. The game was great. The production was great. But for me, this resource converting stuff, it's just not resonating with me anymore.
I get that. And I think the entire table felt the same way. What's the uniqueness of the game is for sure is how you take your action on your turn of placing your assistants, moving through tiles with your assistants, and the power calculation. Higher the power, the more things you get to do. But personally for me, that wasn't enough, like you said, to kind of say, would I play this over something else? And maybe I'm in the same boat. I remember years ago, Vanessa said, when I try to get her to play games, she would say, is this one of those games where I go and get this thing and I collect a lot of them and I turn them in for something else and that's going to create victory points? And I would go, yes. That's what this game is. And not that there's anything wrong with that. There's not. But I think I'm in the same boat. I've played so many of this style of game of, I've got to collect a bunch of these and I can go over here and I can convert this to this. And once I convert this to this, I can turn this in and get this. Awesome. Now, it does incorporate a lot of different Euro style mechanics, set collection, in-game achievements, etc., area control, which is really nice. But I think there are other games that will kind of do the similar thing for me that I'd probably play over this.
No, that's fair. It's one of those games that when it came out, it was amazing then. It had some very challenging puzzles to solve, and some others have come forward.
Yep. And again, these are 2 old crusty gamers that's been doing this podcast for 12 years. We've played a lot of games. We're in the stage of our life to where it's like, it's kind of really got to be really unique and something that's like, whoa, I just haven't done that before, to kind of like get room on our shelf to replace something else.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Again, I understand why this was such a popular game in 2016. I think this new version is going to do even better because it looks great. It looks better than the original. If you like the original, you're going to like this. Plays the same way, includes those 2 mini expansions. But if you play a ton of Euros and you play a lot of them, maybe you want to try this first and see, is it unique enough for you to replace maybe one of the existing Euros you already have? So that's Yokohama. Yokohama. How do you say that?
Yokohama?
Yeah, that's it. So that's Yokohama. Say it again.
Yokohama.
Yokohama. So that's Yokohama from Synapsis Games, designed by Masashi Hayashi.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
Coming out at Gen Con this year from Portal Games is AI Space Puzzle. Now, Ignacio's got this splashed all over the web page. He saw this game, loved it, said, "That's mine." He took it. He made it his, and it is coming out. So if you're over, doing that rush at Gen Con, be sure to head over and grab AI Space Puzzle. Now, this is not the Portal ad. This is about our experience playing AI Space Puzzle, which was a blast. I loved watching you be the puzzle giver. That was so much fun.
Full disclosure, Portal is one of our sponsors. So let's just go ahead and say that up front as we talk about this game. I know that going in, just want to get that out of the way. This is a straight deduction game. You have got a 4x4 grid of cards that you're going to randomly put out onto the table. One person is going to be playing as the AI. They're giving clues. They're going to draw a card, and this card is going to show where 4 different color astronauts need to be placed on that 4x4 grid. Now that's like level 1. I'll tell you what level 2 is in a second. But I just got to get you guys to get these 4 different colored astronauts on these 4 different tiles in this 4x4 grid. The only thing I have to give us clues are these little cardboard tokens, depending on the scenario that you're doing. The scenario could be, say, hey, you have access to all the tokens that are different colors of the astronauts. Or it could be you have access to all the different keys because every astronaut is assigned to a particular key and a location on the board. Or you may get, say, icons that are inside those little cards that make up the 4x4 grid. Each card has a unique combination of up to 4 different icons. And on my turn, I'm going to be able to put tokens out onto the table, and the scenario will tell you how many tokens I'm allowed to place out, how many rounds we're going to go, and how many actions that the players get to have. So, Tony, I'm going to set up I was saying this is scenario, 5 little cardboard tokens. I'm going to remove the screen, and now it's your turn to go. Mm-hmm. You have 4 actions you can do on your turn. So why don't you tell us what kind of actions you can do and what you're trying to discern from what I've placed on the table.
Right. So based on these tokens, I may be able to put an astronaut on a planet. I may be able
That's 1 action.
I may be able to move an astronaut.
That's 2 actions.
Now, if we're playing the harder levels where there's dice, another action may be adjust a dice number. Because, on these advanced versions, dice will maybe matched with an astronaut, and you've got to get the right number with that.
Yeah, so not only you have to get the astronaut in the right location with the right key, but with the right number on the die.
Or I can just basically remove that astronaut and try again. So you've got to plan these out. You get so many moves that you can do during your turn. When you're satisfied with it, you tell the clue giver, you read their face, you watch them grimace in pain as they obviously did not give you the appropriate clues or use the tokens correctly for how you think they should have been done. And then you move to the next round. You have a set number of rounds. And I guess, in my themed world, the astronauts die of lack of oxygen if you don't make it to the solve the puzzle by the end of the turns.
That seems fair. And the AI person is not supposed to talk at all. Mm. Well, how do they know if they got something right? You do have access to a couple tokens, a check and an X. I didn't want to waste tokens. Sometimes I didn't let you guys know whether you were right or not. I could just say, ask the red astronaut. I could put down a red token with a check beside of it, and that would kind of indicate to you guys, awesome, the red astronaut is in the right location. But I'm using 2 of my clue tokens for that. So instead, I may just say, forget it. You guys are in the right spot. As long as I don't lead you astray and make you do something with that red astronaut, I'm going to divert your attention to some other place so I can use those 2 tokens for something else. And that's where playing as the AI got really tricky. But I think that was we played multiple scenarios, tutorial, like a medium, an easy, trying to get more difficult. Now, the higher difficult when we had to include dice in this did make it hard, but you kind of get into a rhythm. It's like, oh, Marty used the greater than symbol last time to indicate the direction he wants us to move. Like, for example, maybe I lay out the tokens in a certain pattern on the table where it looks like I'm trying to recreate the 4x4 grid. And you guys will go, oh, he's got an arrow beside the red token. Maybe we're supposed to move that astronaut in that direction. I'm trying to convey this through these simple icons on tokens.
Mm-hmm. So the unique thing from this than any other deduction game you're dealing with, like code names, the crypto, that kind of stuff. For me, I think it is using the icons or the little chits to indicate things to try to communicate that message. That's what's different to me. I don't know. I'm sure there's games like this out there, but I have not experienced any. I felt that the level of challenge was definitely there to try to communicate this. Replayability, it's moving around constantly. Different colors are coming out there. You're not going to see the same type of board. And also with the clue givers, you can make up your own, challenges from the standpoint of, hey, can we, and we'll play it 3 times, best out of 3, things like that. You can do all kinds of things with this. I mean, for a group setting, how many people? I think there is a
5.
Yeah, 5, but I think you could go more, but I don't think it would be as fun because just like anything, people will end up getting left out of the discussion.
And for me, when I first read the rules, I thought, ooh, this is really too open-ended. Like, I'm kind of used to deduction games. It's like, here's a strict set of rules for the clue giver that you must follow. Honestly, it is totally left open to the AI person how they use those tokens. You just can't say anything. And once you remove the screen, you just got to sit there with a stone face as you watch the guys trying to struggle through how to interpret this. I found that the openness of the gameplay made it really interesting because you could get as creative as you want. Mm-hmm. You may find that stacking a token on top of something else could convey a message. Maybe I stack a check token on top of a color token and a key token to indicate you have the color and key right, but maybe you're in the wrong location. So there's all these little tricks that you can do that you can go. So the open-endedness, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed it when I didn't think I would. Yeah, but it looks like that they can release more scenarios as this game goes on. So it's like, oh, I've already gotten through all these, which I don't know how you could see how I'm being proficient in all of them. But anyway, it may happen. So there's going to be more scenarios coming out for this. So that is AI Space Puzzle, the new game coming out from Portal Games at Gen Con. If you like deduction games, it's not a very expensive game. You can pre-order it now. You might want to get it and find out what you think of it.
5-minute initiative is complete.
Well, you heard us talking about AI Space Puzzle. If you want to get that pre-order in, head over to shopportalgames.com. You can get that beautiful puzzle deduction game going to irritate your friends. Said it in the last show. If you feel like just losing games constantly, be sure to get that cooperative game, Robinson Crusoe, Collector's Edition. Feel the defeat, constant defeat that it will give you. Or better yet, one of my favorite new games that came out, Imperial Miners. There's plenty of free content out there. That is one of those straightforward, easy collecting games that Marty and I really enjoy. Can't wait to get that back on the table. Matter of fact, Ignacy, I'm looking for some more expansions. Let's go. Make this happen. Let's get a new mine. Let's find a different way to dig for...
There's an Imperial Miners expansion coming.
There is?
Yeah. It's called Imperial Miners Aztecs versus Weirdlings.
Head over to Shop Portal Games for all their selection of challenging, soul-crushing games. So at our game night, sometimes we get into some really deep philosophical discussions. Like, is the street-style corn at QW really that good?
Yes.
Yeah, it is. Oh, man, is it good. Mm-hmm.
That's good.
Yeah. Should you get the nachos with the nachos on the side? The answer is yes.
Yes. Yeah, because you don't want the chips to get soggy.
No, you don't. Yep. You never do. Is it really worth $3 more just to have steak with a special seasoning when the regular steak? Maybe not.
Maybe not.
Well, this question that got presented was, has the golden age of board gaming passed? Now, before we get started on this, I just want to point out, what does it mean to be in a golden age? You know, golden age is about peace, prosperity, and happiness. Things are all settled. Life is easy. It usually follows a low point in some time in history. So as we begin to look at this, and, you know, Marty and I are being philosophical here, we need to keep that in mind. Has board gaming reached a zenith to where maybe it will, you know, just stagger along? It will not continue to prosper and grow. And that's how I look at it. What about you?
I guess it depends on what the metric is for this. Is golden age measured by the number of games that are released and the amount of money the industry is bringing in? If that's the criteria, then we're still very much in the golden age because that goes up almost every year. I know the pandemic, it spiked. It's probably come down a little bit since then. But we've gone to releasing almost 4,000 to 5,000 games per year. It's, you know, you include all the table type stuff that's included, you're over $1 billion in sales, you know, each year. So if you look at it strictly from a sales, you'll go, well, of course, the golden age is right here upon us. But I'm not going to look at it like that personally. I'm going to look at it from innovation and quality and community. And for me, if I was to give a 10-year sliding window of when I think maybe the golden age was, personally for me, it's going to be in the mid-2000s to the mid-2010s, like 2005 to 2015. For me, in my journey, my hobby, that is going to be my probably golden age of board gaming.
Okay. And then on my side, it's more or less pretty straightforward of, am I still getting the satisfaction, the happiness from new games that are coming? Or am I beginning to see a lot of repeats, things that are not out there that are being innovative? It's just a rehash of previous games. And I guess, you know, it really doesn't always have to be a constant new thing, you know? And I don't need that. So for me, a golden age, like, I don't even know my age. Am I in the golden years yet?
I think it's 50 and over. So
yeah, we're in the golden years. With that in mind, then, no, we're going to continue. I think the golden age continues for gaming because a lot of people are still getting into the hobby. People are still, the designers and developers are always looking to push themselves to come up with what's next. I mean, if you're not in the golden age, then it's kind of like, who cares? What does it matter? You know, you're in the declining years, and I don't think we're there yet.
So for me, again, when it comes to quality and innovation, that window from like 2005, 2010 was just huge. For me, there were so many different genres that came out during that time. For us, we were really big into CCGs in that time. We had a surgence of CCGs. We had the next generation of TCGs coming out, one of them being World of Warcraft TCG, which introduced a whole new resource style mechanic of any card can be a resource, which is way different than what Magic is. And what card game are we obsessed with now? Star Wars Unlimited, which uses that exact same mechanic. So that's nothing new. It was invented back then, but it was kind of really innovative at the time. When I started gaming more with my family, I was looking for a solid co-op. In 2008, Pandemic came out. Kind of set the world on fire, with this co-op game because this was something that everybody was playing. It is still huge today. It kind of launched the popularity of co-op games. I love card games and deck building. In 2008, Dominion was introducing the concept of deck building. Yes, there have been a ton of deck building games that I've played and enjoyed, but it all started there. Think about over the past several years how hot legacy games were. 2011 was Risk Legacy, and in 2015, at the end of my window, was Pandemic Legacy, which is probably one of the biggest legacy games of all time. There are games that we had, Euro games with a lot of different players. Seven Wonders came out in 2010, set the world on fire. It's like, wow, this is something that's really easy to play. You get a lot of people to the table, you interact with the people to the left, to your right. When I look at all that, in the past 10 years, I just haven't seen the same innovation that's grabbed me like stuff that happened in that previous 10 years.
Wow. You gave this a lot of thought, didn't you?
I have. I've been giving a lot of thought over the past several weeks because I'm like, so we recently just in previous segment talk about why can't I say
Yokohama.
Yokohama. Why? I screw up where I put the H. I said it didn't blow me away. If in 2010 I played something like that, never played anything like that before, it may have blown me away because it's like, wow, it's all these things in one. That is really cool. But I've been there, done that. So after we played that game, I went, it's fine, but it's nothing that it's like, I'm not going to keep it on my shelf. There's other things that I'll probably play instead. And I know we're jaded. We've been doing this for 12 years. We've played a lot of different games. It's just getting to the point that it's going to take a lot to wow me now. And it's going to have to be something really new and innovative. And all I see is rehashing of old ideas.
Okay. And I don't disagree with you, but I'm also looking at where they can take simple concepts and basically reintroduce them in a new way. Like we were also just talking about with AI, Space Puzzle. I mean, that's the same concepts that we see in code names, giving a clue, but the innovative process was having the little tokens out there to give the clues instead of a verbal. Previous games, you would place markers out for the colors to indicate where someone's, dream state was, or any of those type of deduction games is how can they innovate that and maybe pull back. So it continues, but is it continuing to grow this golden age of board gaming, not based on sales, but on innovation? Maybe not as strong as it was, to your point, but they continue to think of ways of implementing stuff that's been there that we're like, hey, that's a pretty neat idea. But once again, to your point, it doesn't wow you.
Right. And also, when I first got into the hobby, there were a lot less people playing. The hobby has grown by leaps and bounds, which is great. A lot more people are playing games. They're enjoying games, playing with their family. Amazing. But back then, when it was smaller, a little more, even more niche than what is still a niche hobby by far compared to other things, I felt a greater sense of community, and that's just because there were fewer people. So I would go to Gen Con in 2010. There was 30,000 people there, which was insane at the time, and now more than double that size.
Right.
Great. A lot of people. It's blown up. That's amazing. I'm not saying I want to go back to when it's just 30,000. I'm just saying when it was 30,000, it felt different. Like I felt it was more of a oneness in the community, and it's so big you just can't really have that anymore. There's definitely still communities within this thing, but I don't see board gaming as a one community anymore. It's just a lot of people playing games, and within that, you have communities of people playing D&D and people playing Pathfinder, people playing Magic, and people playing Euros, and playing people historical games. So it's like people are like kind of splitting off, and the communities are getting more tight knit around something in particular that they enjoy, as opposed to the broad spectrum of just board games itself. So for me, I kind of miss that really small, tight knit community from 15 years ago. But that's just, old man yelling at the clouds sort of deal. I don't want to go back to where people aren't being able to play the games, aren't exposed to the games like they are now. I think it's great that you see this stuff in Target and Walmart, and I would never want that to change. But I do miss that kind of closeness that we used to have.
But I've noticed recently in the Wally world that the game session has been moved to the back shelf, and the Legos are now 2 aisles, right? So Legos are 2 aisles forward, and all the games have been pushed to the back, and all those Ticket to Ride and those games have really shrunk down in volume that they have. If you look at that perspective of it, because I do walk through there to see, okay, what have they latched onto? And they've actually shrunk their gaming collection at Walmart.
Well, it makes sense because you had the big surge in the pandemic.
Right.
I mean, we heard from publishers last year that sales really fell off last year because people started going out. Hey, finally, we're going out, going on vacation again. So I'm not going to buy this board game, sort of deal. That is kind of a weird scenario that we just went through. So we're probably leveling out to what maybe it was before pre-pandemic. And I would suspect that probably this year maybe have better growth than last. Well, I don't know. Who knows? Inflation, the way it is, people are tightening their pocketbooks all over the place. So who knows? The economy has a big effect on this too, right? Because board games aren't a necessity. They're a luxury item, and people may look at their board game shelf and say, I'm cool with what I got. I would just be 100% honest. If I never bought another game or never played another new game but had access to what I already have, I have enough to last me the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm. Same here. If we go to game night, we could keep going to game night all the time, and we would be fine just playing what's on our shelves now.
Yeah. And we probably wouldn't play the same thing twice in 1 year if we didn't want to. Still, with what we got in our collection.
Yeah, but I'm getting ready to pare that down. So maybe we might be able to.
Fair.
There you go.
Fair. Can you have another golden age? I think you can. Personally, I think we're kind of entering in a new golden age of video games. I think the past 2 years of the titles that have been released have been absolutely insane how good it's been with some of the big titles that we've had. So you talked about golden ages come after lulls.
Mm-hmm.
In my experience, I feel I'm in a lull board gaming wise. Maybe next year there's another golden age for me right around the corner. I'm not saying it can't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying over the past 25 years, my golden age was in that 10-year window. And I'm hoping maybe another one will come around for me again.
So what do you think? Are you still in your golden age of gaming? Let us know over on our Discord channel. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
Or if you're not, when do you consider to have had your golden age of gaming? Again, let us know in Discord or over on the Twitters at Dyson Names. You can just talk to us. What are you sniffing at?
Twitters, please.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
I'll admit, we do not play a lot of dexterity games. But there's a game that I got to play at early prototype last year that I said, okay, Tony may actually like this, so I brought it to game night. This is Nekojima. This is from Unfriendly Games. And here it is. We have an island of cats that we need to build an electricity network. So we have power poles that we are trying to place in the island to provide power to, I guess it's either citizens or the cats. The only thing is, though, as we're laying out these power poles that are basically wooden dowels with a colored cord between the two dowels, placing these on a little round surface that's broken into 4 colored areas. The only thing is, you can't let the cords touch, because Tony, that would be bad. If you're putting out electric poles and you've got cables touching, that just means you're going to knock out a transformer at a substation somewhere, and then you have to get on the call, and it's going to ruin our game night.
That's right. You got a face-to-face fault. That's a bad day. That means that you better hope that your relay protection is working well, because if it's not, then you do blow up stuff, and blowing up stuff is costly. You got to repair it, and your outage is a lot longer, and therefore your SAIDI and safety numbers escalate, and then you've got
this is only a 5-minute.
Oh, I'm sorry. That's right. So we're placing things. Why cats? Oh my gosh.
I don't know why cats. But like I said, you got a circular board broken up in 4 colored zones. You're going to roll 2 dice. The dice will tell you, have colors on them representing each of the 4 colors of the area. And it's going to say you're going to need to put the 2 poles in these 2 colored segments. It could be the same color segment. It actually could be something that your neighbor has to pick. And then you're going to draw a cube out of the bag. The color of the cube tells you which one of the power poles you need to place, because the cube is going to match one of the cords on the poles. You take the 2 wooden dowels, you set them on the board in the correctly colored spaces. You can actually stack one dowel on top of the other. The only thing is, the cords can never touch, or you can't knock anything over. And if you do, game over and you're out and everybody else wins.
Right. And the cubes help you track how far you've moved along based on the level you're in. So 4 cubes equals you're moving on to the next level. Great way to track the number of cubes are in the bag, the number of cats. The cats are all different sizes. They have different hooks.
You didn't mention, what did the cats do?
The cats hang on the lines. It still makes no sense to me, but that's...
I don't know. So if you draw a black cube at the end of your turn... It depends. I like this. I do like this. You can play competitively or cooperatively. If you draw a black cube, you got to hang a little cardboard cat by its tail or its feet on one of the cords, but you got to make sure that cat doesn't touch a pole, and you got to make sure you don't actually pull down a pole, and you got to make sure that that cat doesn't touch another cord besides the one that it's hanging on. So again, it's all part of this dexterity, and you can't touch a cord at any point in time when you're placing anything. You can only touch the wooden dowels.
Right. All these rules, and you can't...
Well, it's not all of these rules.
Well, I mean, the cat can't go face to face. The cat can't fall off. I mean, it's all... What, did you just meow?
Meow.
There you go. Dexterity games. Yeah. At my age, that does not work. But this... This is a game for young kids to have a blast with. This is reverse.
What? I enjoyed it.
Well, but this is reverse Jenga almost. You know, there's the challenge of it where you're trying to build something without it falling down and without touching certain ones. The competitive, we only had 3 people that night, so we really didn't go competitively.
We went cooperatively, which when you do that, you see how many levels you can go.
Right.
How many cubes can you pull out of the bag and place all the poles?
Right. So, but competitively, we didn't try it out. And I can see where one of those dice is the person to your right picks what you're going to do or where you're going to place it. If you're in competitive mode, that's pretty mean.
Oh, it 100% is mean because you're going to pick a place that's extremely hard to get a pole placed. And by the way, these wooden dowels are of different size. Mm-hmm. The cords between the two are of different lengths, so it's all over the place. So it's simple, fun, dexterity, great family game, great for groups. It plays up to 5 players. There are the 2 modes of play, and it's a super nice production.
Yes.
The nice dials, the nice chords, the nice player board and everything like that. This is one of those that in the night you pull out, you play in 15 minutes, you put it away. And there's not much to it. You just dump the dials out on the table, put the cubes in a bag, and just start playing.
Blast with young kids. Yeah, this is one of those that you put in the collection to basically entertain those and make fun of us old people.
That's right. So if you're looking for a really fun, clever dexterity game, that's Nekojima from Unfriendly Games.
5-minute initiative is complete.
All right, y'all. So we've been featuring all these new Gen Con games coming out, which means you need to keep an eye out over at miniaturemarket.com because pre-orders for these games are going to start going up. Not everybody's going to Gen Con. It's insane, y'all. Just stay home and enjoy your games at home. You don't need to come out there and do that crazy stuff. Tony's like, that's absolutely correct. But you can go out there and get really good deals on the pre-orders. It's going to, for all the games that's going to be coming out from Miniature Market. And if there's a hot game out at Gen Con, that means people are going to be jumping on it and they may sell out. So what you need to do is, like, they always have the big preview over at BGG of all the Gen Con releases. You can go out and look at some games that you're possibly interested in. Head over to Miniature Market, see if they got a product page for it there. If they do, add it to your wish list. You can let them know when it's, you can get notified when it's available for pre-order or in stock. And remember, you can go ahead and pre-order your stuff and just have it held. And once your pre-order exceeds a certain limit, have it released and get it shipped for free. It's always a great deal. And I got some friends at work that do that all the time. They just keep ordering stuff till they hit the $100 mark, hit the release, and they got that stuff coming in with free shipping. So remember, keep up to date with all the new releases over at miniaturemarket.com.
All right, so Marty is always jazzed up when these Nintendo Directs or the state of PlayStation or Xbox Big X or whatever they're called. He's always talking about this stuff. He and Bert go on and on about a game, and I just basically tune him out during game night because, you know what? I don't really follow it that much. You just mentioned, on the show about the golden age of video gaming. I never knew it declined. Heck, I figured they're putting out new systems all the time. So how is that going to stop? We've got all these esports and stuff. But Nintendo Direct just hit. Is there something I need to go buy?
I don't know. It's hard to talk with somebody who hadn't seen it. I mean, I'm super excited about the new Zelda game where you actually get to play as Zelda this time, which looks really cool. It's like a cool puzzle-solving game. There's a new Mario and Luigi RPG that's coming out that looks really cool. They dropped finally a gameplay trailer for Metroid Prime 4 that's going to be coming out next year. If you're into Donkey Kong Country, they got Donkey Kong Country Returns HD that's coming out, a new Mario Party. We need to get like a bunch of people on our Discord channel and get on and play Mario Party. That'd be fun sometime.
How do you do that now? I mean, you had to do it in the room and hit each other with the controllers and stuff.
Hit each other with the controllers? What kind of Mario Party are you playing?
The Wii version, where you're swinging around having a big time. Mario Party was a blast. How would you do that online?
Because you don't need to be in the same room to play Mario Party.
Oh my heavens! See, this is what you're dealing with here. I don't even know. I don't even keep up with that. I enjoyed Mario Party, but I don't have anyone to play with anymore. So I didn't know that you could do that over online stuff.
Everything's online. Dragon Quest 3, which I never played. The remake's coming out. I want to play that. Metal Slug Tactics is a game that's come out interested in. They're re-releasing Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. There's just so many things.
Dragon Quest 3. That's not the. Oh, that wasn't the one. Dragon's Origin, or what was there was a game from EA that I loved where you went and played. God, I can't even think of the name of it. But Dragon Quest 3 is not it. Okay. So
no, you're talking about Dragon Age.
Dragon Age. That's it. Yeah.
So did you see the Dragon Age 4 that was announced?
There's a Dragon Age. There's been 4 of them?
There's been 3 of them, and the 4th one's coming out next year.
Really? I still never finished 1.
But 1 is a classic.
Oh, yeah. I enjoyed that.
I love 1.
Yeah, that was a fun game. I'm glad I keep watching these. Keep filling me in on what's coming and letting me know how I need to spend my Nintendo dollars. And I will do that.
Well, look, you've already pre-ordered the expansion for Guild Wars. I need to go do that. I want to...
No, I haven't.
I thought you said you had pre-ordered it.
No, I just got the Soto and got for Guild Wars Soto, and I am very pissed at that right now that I didn't even finish the beginning of it. My Sky Scale, I just said, I'm done with this. So
it's a pain in the butt, isn't it?
I'm like, this is I kept dying. I'm like, is there an easy button? Where is my easy button? Oh, I was so frustrated.
So anyway, I'm going to buy the expansion, and it'd be cool if we could like get a character and like try to go in there and just do that one expansion together.
Okay. We can do that. Maybe we can make that happen. Hopefully. Notice how I keep
here we go.
Yeah.
See, he does that to me, y'all. I might do that. Maybe I could do a game day one Saturday in the next few months or something like that. Who knows?
Who knows how that's going to be? But I do know one thing. I'm going to keep rolling dice
and taking names. Hey, y'all. Thanks for listening. Follow us on all the socials at Dice and Names. Go over to our website, rolldicetakenames.com. Use that Miniature Market affiliate link out there. Join our Discord channel. And if you want to support the show, you can always do so over at buymeamoonpie.com.
Repeat after me.
Okay.
Yokohama.
Yokohama. Yokohama. Is that it? Yokohama?
John and Yoko.
Yoko. Uh-huh.
Was her name Yoko?
Yeah. Yoko Ono.
Okay. Then what's so hard about Yokohama?
Because I can't say Hama. Yokohama.
Can you say Benny Haha?
Benny Haha? Yokohama. Oh, there it is.